Welcome to Business Tips with Michael Tobian. Today we will be talking about the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. As many of you know, our federal leaders have put together another stimulus package with programs for individuals and businesses and organizations. One of these is the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant. I'll be giving an overview of this today. I'll start out by saying that I'm in no way giving you advice for your business or situation, but rather I'm letting you know about information that is publicly available. I'd encourage you to read the legislation language, which is about 30 pages of text buried in almost 6,000 pages of the entire stimulus legislation. Information on that is below and at the end of the video. You can also visit the SBA website to verify all this information and see how it will or won't apply to your business. What is it? The Shuttered Venue Operators Grant, sometimes referred to as Save Our Stages or SVO, which stands for Shuttered Venue Operators, is an SBA grant that was established by the Economic Aid to Hard-Hit Small Businesses, Nonprofits, and Venues Act, which was recently passed in the last few days of December of 2020. As of today, the grant applications aren't available, but they will be very soon. This grant is available directly from the SBA, and you will apply for it on the SBA website. The best way to get updated information on this is to go to this link right here. The link is also in the description. They will be notifying us all when it's available. This grant is designed to help live venues and businesses related to live events that were hit extremely hard last year. Who is eligible? This grant is specifically made for live venue operators, promoters, talent representatives, theatrical producers, performing arts organizations, operators, museum operators, and some zoos and aquariums, theater operators, and the like. Anyone applying must have been in business as of February 29th, 2020. Anyone who wishes to get this grant must not have received a PPP loan after December 27th, 2020. People who got the PPP loan early in 2020 can still apply. The challenge for a lot of us that are deciding which grant to apply for, the PPP or this SVO grant, is that the PPP loans are available right now, and the applications for the SVO grants are not. My business would get much more money through the SVO, so I'm holding off on the PPP right now. Some people have advised to apply for both and just accept one of them. I'm not sure if you can do that or not. There doesn't seem to be very conclusive information on that. My bank told me that the application for PPP would end up being the final loan documents, so I decided not to apply for the PPP this round because I don't want to get it and then not have a chance to get the SVO. And we don't know right now what's going on with the SVO application. So look at both and talk to smart people and decide what others suggest you do and decide what you want to do for your own situation in terms of applying for both of them. How much grant money can I get? Well, if your business was in operation on or before January 1st, 2019, then you would be awarded the lesser of these two options. 1, 45% of your 2019 gross revenue earned, or $10 million. Note that the lesser of these two options is what they'll give you. If you began operations after January 1st, 2019, then you would get the lesser of the following. The average monthly gross revenue for each month you were in operation in 2019 multiplied by 6, or $10 million. And again, it's the lesser of the two. In other words, you can't get more than $10 million. Application prioritization and financial qualifications. The SBA is prioritizing applications based on your financial revenue loss from 2019 to 2020. Before I get into this, if your business didn't experience at least a 25% loss in revenue between these 2 years due to COVID-19, you might not really want to even bother continuing on because that is the minimum requirement of loss between the 2 years for this grant. I'm going to go over the 5 stages of priority in these grant awards. The first 4 of these priority stages only apply to small entities with up to 50 employees. Businesses that are larger than that won't be able to apply until that last 5th stage of priority. Okay, the first priority awards. Business entities who experienced a 90% or greater revenue loss between April 2020 and December 2020, due specifically to COVID-19, will be considered for the first 14 days of the grant awards. Again, this is revenue loss, comparing April to December of 2020 to April to December of 2019. Second priority awards. Entities that experienced a 70% revenue loss between those same months, April to December 2020, comparing to April to December 2019, due to COVID-19, will be considered during the next 14 days of grant awards. Third priority awards. Entities who suffered a 25% or greater revenue loss between those same months due to COVID-19 will be considered starting 28 days after the first and second priority awards are made. Supplemental funding. So if you end up receiving an SVO grant in the first and second priority rounds that I just discussed, you may have the option of a second round of funding in addition to those SVO awards that you've already received. To qualify for this, you have to have received the initial grant and you have to have experienced a 70% or greater revenue loss in the first quarter of 2021 when compared with the previous year. This award is up to 50% of what was received in those previous SVO grant awards. So in other words, if you were able to get the grant award in the first and second round of priority, you can get awarded up to 50% of what you got in those rounds if you qualify. And finally, the 5th round is unrestricted, non-priority round. Finally, we have this round which applies to eligible entities of any size, even if you have over 50 employees, and you have to have suffered a 25% or greater revenue loss between these 2 years. This round begins 61 days after the initial grant awards. Let me also say that they are specifically allocating a certain amount of money within the full amount that they're funding towards some of these later rounds. So they're guaranteeing that the money won't run out by the time of that 25% or greater revenue loss round. The SBA did a webinar today. I didn't feel like it had very much information in there that we didn't already know. The takeaways from it, though, were that they are not ready to accept applications yet, but will be soon. Of course, as of today's date, which is January 14th, 2021. And perhaps that applicants of any priority round might be able to apply at any time, but they won't consider the applications internally at the SBA until the appropriate time frame. They weren't very clear about that, though they did suggest that. So you might be able to apply it as soon as any of the applications are available, but they may not consider your application till later. That's something that they will give us more information on later. They have more information on the SBA website. All right, allowable usage of these funds. These funds can be used for any specific expenses outlined in the legislation, including the following. And this is going to take a minute because I'm going to read all the expenses that you can use this for. Payroll costs, rent payments, utility payments, scheduled mortgage payments that aren't including a prepayment of the principal, scheduled debt payments, again, that doesn't include a prepayment of the principal, or any indebtedness occurred in the ordinary course of business prior to February 15th, 2020. You can use it for worker protection expenditures, payment to independent contractors. If you do, the payment can't exceed $100,000 per contractor. Other ordinary and necessary business expenses, including maintenance costs, administrative costs, not including fees and licensing, state and local taxes and fees. It can include operating leases in effect as of February 15th, 2020. It can include insurance payments, advertising, production, transportation, and capital expenditures related to producing a theatrical or live performing arts production. Now, they've specifically said that grantees may not use the award funds for the following purposes: You can't use it to buy real estate. You can't make payments on loans that originated after February 15th, 2020. You can't use it to make investments or loans, making contributions or other payments on or behalf of political parties, committees, candidates for election, or any other prohibited use by the administrator of the loan. I'd suggest going to the SBA website, checking out that list and going through it, because you don't want to use it for the wrong thing. Record keeping. Anyone who receives the grant will be required to retain employment records for 4 years following receiving the grant. And then other application details. This is about all we know right now. The SBA has indicated that they will give us more information about the actual application process very shortly. If you have any questions, you can email them at svogrants@sba.gov. And again, you can view the language of the legislation, which is Section 324 of the House Amendment to the Senate Amendment to H.R. 133. Man, there's a lot of long words in these things. My copy starts on page 2124. So if you want to look through the entire legislation, it's about 30 pages or so of that 6,000 page bill. Started on page 2124. Thanks for watching. That's a lot of information, but good luck to you.